So, hallo, herzlich willkommen zurück zu einer weiteren Runde Let's Play Zero Escape Virtue's Last Reward. Ich hoffe, ihr habt die Aufnahme gestartet. Jetzt auf jeden Fall. Ich muss mir echt einen zweiten Bildschirm anschaffen, damit ich das genauer weiß. Also dann, wie gesagt, ich hoffe, ihr freut euch. Ich sollte mal anfangen einfach. Wir befinden uns jetzt gerade an folgender Stelle. Wir waren mit Dio und Clover zusammen im Labor. Nochmal eine kurze Zusammenfassung des Weges dorthin. Zuallererst wird Tenmyoji entscheiden durch die gelbe Tür. Infirmary, von da aus Ally wählen. Hier Chromatic Doors, dann für die rote Tür mit Dio entscheiden, hier durch. Und wie es hier weitergeht, das werden wir gleich sehen. So, übrigens, wir haben auch Accelavir gefunden. Also das einzige Zeug, womit man bisher Radical 6 heilen kann. Und Dio sagt, wir sollen anhalten, warum auch immer, bevor wir aus dem Raum rausgehen.
There's something... I guess there's a couple of things I want to double check. Well, one of them's not really significant, I guess.
Huh?
First off, this machine. We didn't even end up using this thing, did we?
Stimmt. Yeah.
I was just wondering what it was.
Well, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to answer that. Look at the side here. There's a name or something. IG Replicator.
Replicator makes it sound like it makes copies of stuff.
So it's like a copy machine.
Yeah. Probably copies IG. Whatever that is.
Any ideas? Ich muss kurz mein Handy überhaupt anschalten, weil ich fiel gerade auf, dass ich einfach meine Stoppuhr mal wieder vergessen habe. Ich war einfach viel zu enthusiastisch um diese Aufnahme, also für diese Aufnahme, dass ich das einfach vergessen habe. So, jetzt.
Who knows? Ice cream by the gallon?
Nein. Of course. This machine must be here so we can just make all the ice cream we want. Are you nuts? You're one idiotic girl. Do you know that? In other words, an IG.
Oh, good one.
Hey, this isn't the time for stupid jokes. There's a helpless child back there in the infirmary who needs our help.
He was right, of course. I hang my head in shame.
At any rate, as long as we don't know what IG means, we can't do anything with this machine, right?
That's right.
Makes sense. On to the second issue. Sigma, you found a journal and some sort of vial in the safe, right?
Yeah.
The vial. Could you show it to me again?
Why?
I didn't really get a good look at it before. You guys were in there so close I could barely see it. Was it really Accelavir?
Yeah, definitely. As I spoke, I pulled the vial out of my pocket. See, it's written right there on the label. Accelavir.
You really are an idiot.
Huh?
Although I guess in this case the G in IG stands for guy.
What? I don't... The words were barely out of my mouth when he moved. Before I could blink, the vial disappeared from my hand. Hey, what gives?
What are you doing?
Dio slipped the vial quickly into his coat.
Oh, don't worry. I'll keep it safe. I'll even give it back to you later.
No, not later. Give it back now.
I don't think so. If you want it back, you're gonna have to listen to my request.
Request?
Yeah, that's what I said. If you want this back, in the next AB game, you have to choose Ally.
Ally. Wait, is that why I took the medicine? To blackmail me?
That's horrible! You're using Quark's life as leverage!
Well, I've got some really good reasons to do so. I'll be happy to give it back if you just do what I say.
I didn't realize until they started to hurt that I'd curled my hands into my... nochmal von vorne. Ich werde einfach zu schnell beim Lesen. I didn't realize until they started to hurt that I had curled my hands into fists. If Dio would only give me an opening.
I wouldn't try and take it back by force if I were you. You make any sudden moves and I'll smash it.
He patted his pocket gently.
Oh, and one more thing. Don't tell those other idiots that you found some Excelavir in here. I hear one word about it, and the next thing you hear will be little bits of glass shattering on the floor.
Damn it.
That's not fair.
This game isn't about compassion. It's not about being clever. It's about one thing. How well you can manipulate people to your advantage. How unfair you can be. So, what are you gonna do? Ready to promise me you'll pick ally?
Fine. I promise.
Sigma!
Ist der Kerl ein Arschloch? Muss man mal sagen.
Ah, I knew you'd say it eventually. I'm glad you understand how this works. But don't think about trying anything funny. Break your promise and... well, you know what happens. See you chumps later. I'm really looking forward to the next round.
With one last self-satisfied chuckle, Dio strutted out of the room.
Are you really going to do what he says?
Yeah.
Sigma, you've only got one BP right now. If we choose ally and he chooses betray...
I know. I'll drop to -1, and that means I'll get penalized.
But that means...
Look, it's not like I want to, alright? If we don't do as he says, then he'll destroy the medicine. If he does that, then Quark will...
So you're going to die to save his life? That's... Why would you do that?
In all honesty, I was terrified. My choice was far from a foregone conclusion. Well, we should get back to the upper floor. Everybody else is probably finished already. I bet they're waiting for us. I didn't wait for Clover's response. Ist eine scheiß Ausgangslage. Entweder wir halten das Versprechen und gehen selbst drauf, oder wir brechen das Versprechen und Quark geht drauf. Naja, mal schauen.
An ambidex gate has been opened. 45 minutes remain until ambidex game polling closes.
Sorry, I went ahead and cracked it open a bit early.
Dio. In one of his hands was a moon key. He twirled it around like a veteran gambler, grinned, and slid it back into his pocket.
You don't mind, right? I figured you and Clover would get up here right away. Besides, I thought it'd be best to get this done soon before you lose your nerve. I don't know about you, but I'm really looking forward to the next round.
I glanced around the warehouse. Alice and Kay were back. As was Phi. And, of course, Clover. Where are Tenmyoji and the rest of them?
They're in the infirmary.
We carried Quark to one of the beds. Tenmyoji and Luna are looking after him.
I see.
How's he doing?
Well, it's hard to say. He seems to be sleeping soundly, but beyond that, there's really no way to know.
No change then, huh?
Right.
So what was your room, Sigma?
A laboratory.
Is that so?
Did it look like the kind of place where they'd be researching viruses and DNA and those kinds of things?
Yeah, it did.
Was there any of that Accelavir?
Don't tell those other idiots that you found some Accelavir in here. I hear one word about it, and the next thing you hear will be little bits of glass shattering on the floor.
My eyes flicked to Dio for a moment. No, nothing. Beside me, Clover bit her lip.
I see.
So, how'd it go with you? Find anything interesting? Fi only shook her head. With a unison of movement that almost looked choreographed, Alice and Kay shrugged.
Where does that leave us? We've still got about 40 minutes left until voting ends.
What are you gonna do?
I'm a little curious about that lab you found. I thought I might go take a peek at it.
I'll show you the way then.
That would be wonderful.
I think I'll go have a look at the room Alice, Kay, and Tenmyoji found. Never know. Maybe you missed something. Perhaps there's some Accelavir hidden somewhere in there.
Ugh. What a bastard.
Then I shall take you there.
What about you two? Where are you going?
Well, I think I'll start by heading over to the infirmary to see how Quark's doing.
Then I will too.
Glad that's settled.
She nodded to Clover and they disappeared through the magenta door. Dio and Kay followed a few footsteps behind. Okay then. Guess we should be going too.
Hold on. Show me that journal first.
Huh?
Dio told me about it. You wouldn't tell me anything about the lab except that you found a journal with, his words, some sort of bullshit language. You said you had it, so I was hoping I could take a look.
Yeah. One sec. I dug the journal out of my pocket and handed it to Fi. She began to flip through the pages, her eyes quickly scanning each one.
This is Latin.
Latin? You mean you can read it?
Yeah, with time and a dictionary.
So in other words, no.
Pardon me for not being able to translate a dead language on the fly. This looks like some kind of research log. It's not gonna be some sort of, I took the dog for a walk today. It was nice kind of stuff. I can understand a little of it, mostly conjunctions and things like that. But most of these words I've never even seen before.
Fi started to leaf through the book again as she spoke. Then suddenly she stopped.
Wait. I can read this one. Page 216. This isn't research notes. It looks like a personal entry.
What's it say?
Don't rush me. This is gonna take a minute. Interesting. All right, I think I got it. It looks like they're talking about Radical 6.
What? Why are they talking about that?
Not sure. Let me read it to you. Keep in mind I'm paraphrasing.
When the body is infected with Radical 6, the processing speed of the brain is reduced. If we assume the brain currently operates at a 1-to-1 basis with regards to time, Radical 6 reduces this to 1 to root 1/6, or approximately 1 to 0.408. This means that for each second that passes outside, the patient feels that only 1.408, ich sag mal lieber 0.408 seconds have passed inside. Therefore, when 1 second has passed inside, approximately 2.45 seconds or root 6 seconds have passed outside. In other words, when 10 seconds pass in the real world, A patient infected with Radical 6 would feel as if only 4 seconds had passed. This is why the virus has been termed Radical 6. Radical is another term for what is also known as the root operation, the function inverse to the taking of a power. Also die Quadratwurzel ist im Englischen auch genannt Radical Root. In a less mathematical sense, it can also be used to refer to something that is extreme or severe. Those infected by Radical 6 eventually develop a powerful urge to commit suicide. Ich frage mich jetzt ernsthaft, ja gut, es werden wahrscheinlich Zahlen da drin stehen. Hoffentlich dann halt arabische Ziffern und keine Buchstaben. Also, ich sag nur XIX oder sowas für 19. Das wäre ein bisschen seltsam. Und wie schreibt man eine Wurzel im Lateinischen? Egal. Wahrscheinlich sind da wirklich dann mathematische Zeichen bei. Aber so Sachen wie infiziert auf Latein, also warum kann Fai das jetzt lesen, frage ich mich. Aber egal. Those infected by Radical 6 eventually develop a powerful urge to commit suicide. The exact cause of this is unclear, and although there is of yet no direct link between suicidal urges and the reduction in mental processing speed, many believe that they are not unrelated. Those infected with Radical 6 perceive the world to be moving at a fever pitch, as if it were a video cassette being fast-forwarded. For instance, although the patient believes that only 10 seconds have passed, in fact, 24.5 seconds have passed. Given this increased speed of input, maintaining the ability to observe and reason would become a Herculean task. One theory holds that the disparity in time perception causes the brain to be flooded with massive amounts of information. Unable to keep up, it begins to fail. Whatever the cause, the infected invariably attempt to take their own lives, which is arguably the most terrifying aspect of the virus. Research suggests that a targeted antiviral could kill or at least disable Radical 6, but we have been unable to develop one. It seems our best hope now is to harvest antibodies from someone with a natural immunity to the virus. Thus far, however, we have been unable to locate a suitable subject, so I have continued my efforts to discover an alternative means of treatment. Given my current rate of progress, I predict that I will have a workable treatment within a decade or two. It is my fervent hope that humanity will be able to survive that long. The bodies of those dead from suicide are piled up along the roads leading into and out of town. The entire area reeks with the stench of decay, and the sky is filled with the constant buzzing of flies. At times their swarms are so thick that when one passes it feels as if a cloud has gone over the sun. Every day I see more crows, and rats are everywhere, feeding on the dead. Ironically, the only healthy-looking creatures are the stray cats who have grown fat on plentiful rodent diet. The few humans who survived the outbreak have been locked away by the government in underground shelters. I don't know how many were saved, but I fear only a handful. Their survival is the only hope that remains for the human race. Oh Lord, please, let their future be a bright one. Whoa, that's a lot of information. Now we know that the virus doesn't... what the virus does to you, though. If you get infected, your brain slows down by the root of 1/6. That's, what, about 40%?
That isn't the important part. Those infected by Radical 6 eventually develop a powerful urge to commit suicide.
Yeah, you're right. That would explain why Quark was, well, trying to kill himself.
There are two other things in here that worry me. First, the part about how they haven't managed to develop a treatment for it yet. What do you make of that?
What am I supposed to make of it? Maybe they just hadn't found one when this journal was written. I mean, from what we know, there's a drug called Accelavir that cures it.
Exactly. But in the journal it says it might take 20 years to make something like that.
Hold on a second. I'm getting confused. When was this thing even written?
December 29th. No year.
Well, there's no way it was written this year.
Yeah, probably not. Anyway, moving on. The second concern I have is about the underground shelters it mentions. The newspaper article said something about quarantining people too. After we read it, we all thought the same thing. What if this was one of those quarantine facilities? But this journal seems to suggest the opposite. The few humans who survived the outbreak have been locked away by the government in underground shelters.
You're trying to say that this place might be one of those underground shelters? Which would mean we're all supposed to be uninfected. We would have been thrown in here to keep us safe.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way to say for sure at this point, but it seems possible.
But Quark's been infected, right?
Then maybe the virus got in somehow.
That would be bad.
Just think about it for a minute. If this is one of those shelters, a lot of things start to make sense. Maybe we've been here for a long time. Like, maybe they put us to sleep somehow. Made us sleep for years, maybe even decades. While we were sleeping, the pandemic that the newspaper article talked about happened. And whoever had this journal made this entry.
And then once the antiviral treatment was finished, they woke us up?
Right. It's all just speculation, but...
No, that doesn't make sense. I mean, it seems like a pretty plausible scenario, but... we were all captured before the pandemic started, right?
Yeah.
And how would they have put us to sleep for that long? How would they have known to do that? But most importantly, why the hell are we playing the nonary game if the point of this place is to save us? Throwing a bunch of people into a game that might kill them is a pretty weird way to protect them from a pandemic.
Yeah, you're right.
See?
We don't have enough information to make any real conclusions. I think we should see if we can find anything else.
Fi had barely finished speaking before she took off for the magenta door. Hey, weren't you coming to the infirmary with me?
Changed my mind. You can tell me about Quark later.
And with that... she was gone. Man. I let out a long, tired sigh and started off toward the infirmary. How's he doing?
He seems to be stable, as far as I can tell.
Still sleeping.
I see. Mind if I have a look?
Please, go ahead.
I made my way around the partition to the side of Quark's bed. The journal and the thing Fi and I had talked about would definitely need to be addressed, but for the moment the AB game was what I needed to concentrate on. Lives were at stake, mine and Quark's. Those infected by Radical 6 eventually develop a powerful urge to commit suicide. If the journal was telling the truth, then as soon as the anesthetic wore off, Quark would go insane again. What if we weren't able to restrain him a second time? What if he managed to kill himself before we got to him? Or perhaps he'd just get out of the infirmary and go hide somewhere. On the other hand, it wasn't like we could keep anesthetizing him forever. Anesthetizing heißt es so. There was only one way to save Quark, and that was with Xavier. Unfortunately, Dio had stolen it. If we wanted to get it back, Clover and I would have to vote ally. But if I did, there was an excellent chance I would end up dead. The question was then, what to do? Sacrifice myself to save Quark? Or keep quiet about the danger he was in to save myself? It was so faint I'd almost didn't hear it.
Grandpa.
He shifted a little, then fell silent again. It was enough, though. What on earth had I been thinking? How could I have even considered letting a child die in my place? Suddenly my cheeks felt hot with embarrassment and disgust. That I had considered letting Quark die even for a minute was pathetic. There was only one choice. There had only ever been one choice. No way was I going to leave Quark to die. My hands tightened into fists as I looked down at him. And the uncertainty I'd felt before was gone. I knew what I had to do.
10 minutes remain until Ambidex game polling closes. All players, please enter your votes. If no vote is recorded before the deadline has passed, any non-voting parties will automatically ally. Results will be displayed in the warehouse.
Looks like it's almost time. You two should head back.
What about you?
Not going. I'm worried about Quark.
But you're a solo. If you don't vote...
I'll automatically ally. I know. I heard the voice on the intercom just like you.
What are you going to do if Kay and Alice vote betray?
Nothing, I suppose. Just means I lost that round.
Ja gut, hat genug Punkte.
I'd just be voting ally anyway. You know who my opponents are, right? Alice only has one BP left. If I pick betray and they chose ally, I'd kill her. I'm not so desperate to escape that I'm gonna kill someone for it. And even if I was, I can't leave Quark behind. You see? Doesn't matter if I go into the AB room or not. My vote's the same either way.
Tenmyoji's mind was made up. Trying to persuade him to leave would have been pointless. Alright. Take care of Quark.
Of course. You worry about yourself.
Let's go.
Okay.
Luna and I headed out of the infirmary, leaving Tenmyoji and Quark behind. When we got to the warehouse, we found everyone else waiting for us. Well, not quite everyone. One other person was missing. Hey, where's Dio?
Take a look at the doors.
They're all closed. When we came in here before, the one on the far right was open.
And that would mean...
That he went in, I guess.
Exactly.
That bastard. He'd probably been worried I might try and take the Xelavir from him by force, so he'd hidden himself in the AB room. What a coward. I'd made up my mind to choose ally no matter what, but a part of me had still considered trying to jump Dio if he dropped his guard. Now he'd made sure I wouldn't get the chance to try.
Where's Tenmyoji?
Oh,
Luna explained Tenmyoji's choice.
I see. Well, I guess that means I don't have to worry about him picking betray.
right. What will you guys be choosing then?
Ally, of course.
Because my BP is 6, I assume.
Yes. As long as Tenmyoji votes ally, I can't choose betray. If I do, Kay's BP will go up to 9.
But what if he forces you?
You needn't worry. I would never do something so crass.
Really?
Of course.
Irgendwie traue ich dem Kerl grad nicht.
Then you don't need to go in there.
Excuse me?
Alice can vote by herself. Then we don't have anything to worry about, right?
Well, I apologize, but I'm afraid I can't agree to that.
Why not?
I just can't. Shall we go, Alice?
Hey, hold on a minute there!
Kay continued briskly toward the AB room as if he simply hadn't heard Phi. Alice scrambled to follow him, perhaps concerned that he would lock her out. Only seconds later, they disappeared into the third room from the left.
I hope Alice is going to be okay.
Well, there's nothing we can do now. If Kay told the truth, she'll be fine.
5 minutes remain until Ambidex game polling closes.
Time's almost up. Come on, Luna.
Right.
They headed off at a trot toward the second room from the right, and were soon out of sight inside it. All right, Clover. Time for us to go.
Oh, okay. Right behind you.
I sighed to myself and headed toward the leftmost AB room. Yeah, the Ambidex game will now begin. To enter your vote, please touch the start button on your screen. Once you have entered your vote, the door will lock automatically. It will not open again until the polling period has finished.
What are you gonna do?
I don't really have a choice, do I? There's only one thing I can do. I'm going to choose Ally.
You can't! You'll die!
Well, you never know. Just because Dio told us to ally doesn't necessarily mean he's going to pick Betray.
Do you really think a jerk like that is going to choose Ally if he doesn't have to? No. No way! He's got 6 BP right now. If he picks Betray, then he'll have 9 points!
Well, what about you?
Huh?
You've got 6 BP too, right? If Dio chooses Ally and we choose Betray, then you'd have 9 BP.
What? No, that's not... I didn't even realize that until you brought it up. I'm just trying to tell you that Dio is going to pick Betray. That's who he is.
And I'm trying to tell you that I've made up my mind. That's who I am. The only choice is Ally. It's the only chance we have to get that medicine back.
That's why Dio called you an IG. What makes you think he's going to give us the Excelavir, even if you do what he says?
Maybe he won't, but I can guarantee that he'll destroy it if I pick Betray. That's who he is.
Fine. If you aren't gonna listen to me, then I guess I don't have a choice. I'll be pushing that button.
Huh? Before I realized what was going on, Clover ducked past me and ran toward the voting machine. No! Stop! I snatched her by the arm and hauled backward with all my strength.
Ow!
Sorry. Guess that was a little too hard, huh?
Hey! What do you think you're doing? You can't just throw a girl around like that.
Well, you're the one who tried to trick me.
But you're gonna die! Dio's going to kill you! You can't do this! I don't want you to die.
10 seconds remain until Ambidex game polling closes.
Und ich würde sagen, das ist ein guter Zeitpunkt, um die Folge zu beenden. Es wird interessant. Was werden wir in der nächsten Folge wählen? Und jetzt mal in dieser Folge haben wir auch einiges erfahren. Erstmal eben dieses Buch aus dem Labor wurde von Fall teilweise übersetzt. Was ist da draußen passiert? Wo sind die Charaktere überhaupt? Was ist der Sinn dieses AB-Games? Und vor allem, wer ist Zero? Ist auch immer noch eine wichtige Frage. Und bei Dio wissen wir zumindest, er ist bereit, über Leichen zu gehen. Und er würde augenscheinlich sogar ein Kind töten, oder zumindest damit drohen, wenn er dadurch entkommen kann. Ziemlicher Schweinehund, der Kerl. Dramatische Szene, würde ich sagen. Hier mache ich mal Schnitt. Ich hoffe, ihr habt Spaß. Lasst konstruktive Kritik da, vielleicht ein Däumchen nach oben. Bis zum nächsten Mal bei Let's Play Zero Escape, Virtue's Last Reward. Theorien und alles bitte in die Kommentare. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Cheerio.